Do you ever stop wearing something because the waist area is too tight or too loose, or it's just plain uncomfortable? Well, do not throw it out quite yet, because today I have a few fabulously easy fixes that you can do using no special skills and requiring no expensive tools whatsoever. I'm a Refashionista Sheri, and I show you how to use what you have to make what you want. And if that sounds awesome, then be sure to subscribe for new DIYs every single week. Now let's get to making. This romper was boring and uncomfortable, so let's fix it without sewing anything at all. If you have a long torso like me, these kind of elastic waists on rompers and dresses and playsuits just don't work for you at all, and you end up with them kind of riding up and being incredibly uncomfortable. So let's fix that, and it's super duper simple. All you need is your trusty seam ripper. Here's my quick Refashionista tip for those fabric belts that sometimes come with these kind of garments. I never use them, so I put them in my stash, and instead I upcycle them into bag straps or use them to trim other garments or whatever the heck comes into my mind, because you know what? They come in such fabulous patterns and textures and everything, and you will never have to buy any straps or trim again. Because I'm not going to be using the belt, I can just remove these tacky belt loops that are on the sides of this romper. My romper is now inside out, and you can see that I'm very lucky with the construction of this, because it seems like the top and bottom half of the romper were actually stitched first, and then the elastic was put on after. So all I have to do is remove the stitch holding the elastic on, and it'll be gone, and I won't have to worry about stitching the top and bottom half together again, which makes this a no-sew project. I'm not a big fan of white clothing, so I'm going to see if I can dye this, and of course I'm going to be using the Canadian brand Tintex dye that's available at the Canadian Dollarama stores for a very affordable price. I don't think it's going to come out as awesomely dark fuchsia as the box here, because this fabric is actually 98% polyester and 2% elastin, which isn't great for dyeing. But luckily, Tintex dye has Catalyst T7 in it, which actually opens up the polyester fibers a lot better so the dye can penetrate more. So we'll just see how it goes. And it came out pretty good, I think. It's not super even, but you know what? I can just use this and wear it for my messier workshops like dyeing, bleaching, painting, etc. If you want a quick fix that doesn't involve any cutting at all, these waistband clips could be your answer. This is crazy. You could fit almost another whole person in here. So when I saw these clever little things here, I thought, hey, let's try them on these jeans. So apparently you just stitch them on like buttons, and then they clip together, and they're supposed to hold this in place here. All right, so I figured that I need to take in the waistband about 10 centimeters. So I'm going to stitch these approximately 5 centimeters apart. And I just went ahead and grabbed one of my kiddos' markers, and I just marked here 1 and 2 where I'm going to stitch them on. And now I'm just going to hand stitch them on. So I have both sides stitched on, and here's the moment of truth. Let's see. La la, look at that. It clips and gathers, and on this side as well. And definitely this has shrunk the waistband, but I'm very curious to see what it's going to look like. So you know what? Let's go try everything on and style it all up. If the waistbands on your skirts and trousers are getting a bit too snug,
Here's a quick and easy fix.
First, I need to figure out the size of my upsizing insert. So I've grabbed a pair of trousers that has a similar fit to the ones I'm upsizing, except of course these fit me in the waist. And I'm just gonna put these ones on top, making sure everything is lined up pretty evenly here. And then all I have to do is measure this, but I have to measure all the way around, right? Just to make sure I'm gonna get the correct amount that I need for my panel. And this is to measure the width I need. Alternatively, you can put these on and then simply do them up until they're comfortable and then measure the width from the side to the side as well as the approximate length you'll need. So I have my lovely triangle all chopped out now, and let's just put it on and see. That's basically what it's going to look like, and I think that's totally fine. It's now going to become an extra cool design feature in the back. So first I thought I would simply cut straight down, but then I realized that this seam looked very easy to unpick, so that's exactly what I did. Plus, I also unpicked the waistband here on the front and the back, so now all I have to do is cut the waistband so I can put my insert in. Now that that seam is all opened up, I'm going to grab my insert and line it up with, of course, the right sides facing as always. And I'm going to get this as even as I can up top here so we don't have any little bloops. And now I'm just going to go stitch that together and then repeat with the other side, and it should be done. Once you have one side stitched on, I highly recommend going and trying the trousers on just to make sure everything is going the way it should. And my insert is all stitched on, and of course I did a straight stitch, then I did my zigzag, and then I trimmed off the excess with my pinking shears to help prevent any possible fraying. And look at that, that looks absolutely lovely. So it's definitely time to try it on and style it up. Don't throw out those garments that have a stretched out, super loose waistband. It is so simple to just replace it. You can see here that the elastic waistband is pretty much gone. I mean, I'm sure under here it's just powder. It's very, very loose, and I can even, if I put it close to my ear, you know, if you can hear that, but it's like crunchy, and anyone who's ever worked with any kind of vintage elastic, you know what that means. Crunchy elastic is not a good thing. Anyway, so because I don't really feel like removing all of this, taking out, there's two seams holding this in here, and I just know it's going to be a big mess. Maybe I'll do it in the future, but I don't want to do it right now. So the first thing I'm going to do is simply open up a little space here on one side so I can feed some new elastic through here and make this waistband fit me. So I was actually going to put like a little notch in this side, but then I looked over at this side and there's already a hole here. So I can put my elastic through and then I can mend up this hole all in one go, and I don't have to create another hole. So what I've done is I had this piece of elastic, which actually stretches nicely around the back of my body from like one hip to the other hip around my back. And I will also have a little bit extra room to spare for, you know, the seam allowance that I need to stitch it on. And I'm just going to see if I can feed it through. I've popped a pin in the end, and let's see if it's actually gonna fit through this hole here. And look, how good is that? The hole in the pants was actually right in kind of the center seam area here, so it should gather it up nicely. And then I still have this kind of top that might look a little bit like a mini paper bag waist when it's all through. We'll see. So to get my pin out of the other end here, I just opened up a little section of the seam, and now you can really see just how crunchy it is in there. Now let's go pop them on and measure the correct length. So you can see these are pretty high-waisted, which is just fantastic. And I have already pinned one side of my elastic to the side of the trousers. So then I can just gently pull on this side until the back part feels comfortably tight. So the very first thing I'm going to do is just do a really quick kind of anchoring stitch here, just so it's not going to move anywhere, and I can then do a proper, more secure stitch. With a little stitch there, now I'm just going to stretch it out a bit, trim off the excess, and fold that chopped edge under. And anchor that, and then tuck it in and stitch up the hole. That looks so much better. It feels so much better as well. And it's pretty much invisible on the inside and definitely invisible on the outside. So time to try these on and style them up.
Thick waistband can dig in and add bulk, so let's just get rid of it.
All right, there is a disclaimer to this tutorial. This will only work with elastic waists that are not stitched in. So can you see here, right on the edge here, you can see that the seam is here, but the elastic is here, and the same up here on the top. So I just have to create an opening, and then I can pull that elastic waist out. If you have a garment where it is sewn in, well, I'm sorry to say you're going to have to spend some time binging a series and unpicking those stitches. So after a lot of fighting with this elastic, I finally found the tunnel beginning here. So I'm just going to carefully pick out the stitches, and then I will have my exposed elastic waistband. So there I have opened up that waist tunnel seam, and now I can pull out the elastic like so and chop it in half there. I guess that's in half. And then all I have to do is pull it out. If you are a use what you have type of refashionista like me, then you can just grab your little stash of elastics and pop that new elastic in there for future use. All right, you can be done now. You don't have to stitch this back together if you don't want to. And then this is a totally no-sew project, which is always awesome. I, of course, am going to just quickly stitch mine together. I'm already doing it. And there is more proof that it is incredibly easy to make your clothes fit your body instead of the other way around. Or even worse, getting rid of the stuff that doesn't fit you and going out and buying new stuff. Because, you know what, we all have way too much stuff, and it is so simple to use what you have to make what you want. If you want to go even deeper, I highly recommend joining my wardrobe revolution at refashionistasherry.com. And of course, come behind the scenes with me and my wonderful rockin' Refashionista crew by hitting that little join button. Is it here? Is it here? I don't know. When I'm filming, I never know where things are going to end up. So it's somewhere here is the little join button. I sincerely hope to see you there. And until next time, stay safe, stay well, and I'll catch ya on the zigzag. And I forgot to ask, which of these tutorials is your favorite? Which are you going to actually make like right now? And if there's any other clothing conundrums that you have, leave them down below and I shall find a solution for you. 1, 2, 3. And there's more proof at filming. And there's more proof that using what you have to make what you...
This is Confessions of a Refashionista.